Welcome back, everyone. We will now continue with the next session, which is dedicated to the presentation of the main outputs of our cost action project. The project started in 2022 and will officially end in September this year. It has been a great honor for me to be involved in its leadership. I took over the role of Action Chair in 2025, and I would like to warmly thank Thordis Reimer, who led the project until 2024. She stood at the very beginning of this action and made an essential contribution to its preparation and successful launch. I would also like to thank our Vice Chair, Margaret, very sincerely. Her support has been very valuable to me, and she has played an important role in ensuring continuity in the leadership of the project. And I'm therefore very pleased to hand over to her now and invite her to chair this session, presenting the key outputs of the project. So.
Thank you, Jarina. Can you hear me at the back? Yes, thank you. It's been a real pleasure to work in this project, this program over the last 4 years, not least to have all these amazing work relationships, I should say, with colleagues over this time. Can you hear me now? Is that better? Yeah, better. I can hear it myself even. So, one of the important streams in our project has been the machines, the work engines for delivering and promoting and creating ideas, empirical research and theoretical insights. And we, right from the beginning, with Thordis and Anne-Sophie, who also was involved with myself in the original proposal, we decided on 5 working groups on theory, very broadly defined, on inequality, children, data, terminology and data. And actually this was 4 or 5 years ago, and these themes are so relevant still at this time. So now we're going to hear about the main work of these 5 groups. And I'm very pleased to introduce, to begin with, Anne-Sophie, Alison Koslowski, who's been working and leading Working Group 1 with Anne-Sophie de Vander. So over to you. And please look at this sheet while they're presenting, because it does actually summarize the main outputs.
It's such a pleasure to be here, really. Working Group 1, and Anne-Sophie should be standing here as the leader in terms of the logic of the panel, but I'm here as the deputy leader, as the lead editor of our main output. So we were charged, as you can see, with trying to create or articulate the theoretical link between paid parental leave policies in the context of social sustainability. And we've got the book, and I can see many contributors to the book in the room, so well done. And we've got the manuscript to the publisher a day before the deadline, which has never happened in my life before, so I'm very pleased with that one. The editors are Anne-Sophie and Andrea, I can't spot, but is in the room too, and it will be coming out with UCL Press, open access, next year. And in essence, what's the book about? The book is trying to articulate the links between sustainability and social policy, and in particular parental leave and care policy field, how they might contribute to sustainability research, but also the other way around, how sustainability perspective might allow us to think differently about parental leave policies. And we've been thinking about what sustainable parental leave design might look like. So just a brief word on how we went about it. We enjoyed to start with a slow reading group, and that was because we had in the group, working group 1, many scholars of parenting leave policies, but not so much in the sustainability area. So we weren't sure how to start bringing these two areas together. And I can really recommend trying this out if you are. You should build it into your research project because it was fantastically generative. We spend a lot of time as academics critiquing and reviewing work, but not very often sitting with work and then discussing it with one another. So basic, but it was really creative and allowed us to intellectually develop as a group, bouncing off each other. And we had several, once we decided to go for the book, we had several drafting rounds with peer review, and many thanks to everybody who was involved in that. Not everybody who was involved in peer review was a contributor to the book, so a particular sincere thanks to you. And yeah, it was a big project. So we have 32 contributors working in teams from 16 countries, and the book has 20 chapters. So just a very brief word, whistle-stop tour through the book. I won't read out all of the chapters individually, but we had 5 chapters. We have an introduction and a conclusion as well from the editors. And part 1, the 3 of us were really decided that we would take some time on our own to develop our own relationship between our scholarship and articulating the connections between parenting leaves and sustainability. And so we did that first, and that was very enjoyable. And we shared that with the broader group sort of in draft form halfway through the process to act as an anchor point for the rest of the book. So that's the sort of anchor for the book. And then part 2, we have colleagues, as you can see here, different perspectives on how we might attain what is a sustainable parental leave design and how that might look in different ways. Then part 3, we have colleagues really looking at the connections between sustainability, well-being and parenting leaves in different ways. Part 4, and this was really, the whole book is benefiting tremendously from the comparative perspective and working across cultures and countries. And it really highlights, as you know, the joy of comparative work is that your norms are challenged instantly when you see people doing things differently to your context, both across countries and of course within as well. So this was a section really dedicated to contemplation on that, and also inclusivity and how parenting leaves can be fully inclusive. And then finally part 5, sustainability and care. This was a section which really explicitly looked to bring out connections with the environmental interconnections with our work. It is throughout the book, but this was really dedicated to that perspective. So we didn't come up with a definition of sustainability and tell everybody, right, this is our understanding, this is what you should use. There were multiple pathways to sustainability, multiple understandings of sustainability, which are richly captured in the book. So, really look forward to that coming out. So just to sum up then, key messages of a 20-chapter book with 32 authors and 16 contexts. Very difficult, but I'll try in these 4 points. I think one of the things we all agreed was that having that time and creating that space to really zoom out of our very much area of expertise and to engage with another area and think about where the connections might be is really a crucial practice that we should be fostering more in science, I think, as we look to address the nature of the various crises facing us. So that was really fantastic. Secondly, there's a lot of critiquing going on in the book of existing paradigms and also imaginaries, but we also are providing concrete examples about how we think we can better support sustainability in all its dimensions. Thirdly, that a one-size-fits-all approach is very unlikely to work, both within country context and beyond. So we really need to think about how we can be responsive to this diversity in our work. And then finally, that the sustainability lens really shifts attention away from policies in the sense that we have a problem, we implement a policy to fix it into the future, and then that's job done. Rather a different understanding that policies are dynamic entities which require nurturing in themselves, they require maintenance as well as innovation. So that was Working Group 1, and huge thanks to everybody who was involved in that book. It was very good.
Thank you very much, Alison. And I think that work is testimony to slow reading. There's a real crisis, or people think there's a crisis in reading, that young people aren't reading. Well, academics in this working group were not only reading, but slowly doing it and coming up with this great innovation in the book. So really pleased with that scholarship and overview.